Dynasty, here's a name that I didn't think I would bring up again. Royce Freeman, running back
Me either.
with
I didn't think I'd hear it again.
running back with the Cowboys. I think Stephen Jones had some positive remarks about him. What do you want to share with the audience about Freeman?
Well, to give the background on why we're even discussing this, I'm getting so many questions from a report. I didn't break it, but I got it early and was able to get it out to subscribers that Stephen Jones was in an interview and said they're asking about the running back situation, as everybody does with Dallas. They're harping on him and critiquing on him. So however the flow of the conversation was going with Zeke and all that, then he transitioned to just naturally transitioned like it was a known thing, like everybody should know this. Like he said, Royce Freeman looks really good. He's our number 2 and we're happy about that. And then I'll just like my eyes are like popping out of my head, and then he just gracefully went into and we got guys like Rico Dowdle and Malik Davis that'll, those and some young guys that'll fight for the number 3 spot. I was like, oh my, where did that come from? I thought Rico Dowdle was supposed to be the messiah for everybody of trying to dabble in the Dallas backfield for Dynasty or fantasy. Like, then the vice president of the Cowboys comes out and all but says Royce Freeman's the number 2 back. So that's why we're even here talking about it, because you got to take him seriously. So I just went back today. I sped it up. I've been meaning to watch all of Freeman's work and all of Dowdle's work to try to get a feel for, is Ezekiel Elliott really going to be the clear-cut number 1 guy and everybody else is just going to be, assisting him or relieving him or whatever, or is Dowdle a threat, but is Royce Freeman a threat? So all I can tell you is this, from what I've watched, what I remembered from last year, but then I went back, as I do with a lot of players, the following season, as I go back and look at all of their work from 2023 to try to get a feel for it. So I had earlier in the year, before Ezekiel Elliott even signed with Dallas, I was sending the alert out that Zeke's still, he's not, when I say he's still got it, he's not the Zeke of 5 years ago, but he's not bad. I thought he had a nice run with the Patriots at the end of last season. Ton of catches, low yards per carry, so everybody looks at him and says, oh, he's washed, he's shot, look at the yards per carry. The Patriots offensive line was terrible. The Patriots offense was terrible. The Patriots quarterbacks were terrible. So nobody was thriving in that situation. Zeke played the second half of the season splitting with Stevenson. I think he might have even started a game over Stevenson because Elliott was playing so well in practices. And he put up some huge games. I think he might have had a 9-catch game or a 10-catch game. And I thought Zeke looked plausible. So if you take plausible Zeke and you put him on the Dallas Cowboys with the only competition being Rico Dowdle, I'm like, there's an opportunity here. We need to get in on him before Dallas signs him. So then Dallas signed him. Then I thought this is going to be good until they draft Trey Benson or Braylon Allen. And then that guy is going to be the superstar. And then maybe we'll have the handcuff, I guess, with Zeke. I would have never imagined from that moment on, we were holding the Dallas Cowboys starter. But then everybody started pushing, oh, it's going to be Rico Dowdle. It's going to be a timeshare. So, and then Freeman all of a sudden has entered the discussion too. So in the last 2 days, I went back and I watched all the touches from 2023 for Dowdle and Freeman just to get a handle on it. So I watched Freeman and totally not impressed. I mean, he is like every backup NFL running back. The Rams literally had him running up the middle every time they gave him the ball. And the Rams, when Kyron Williams got hurt and then Ronnie Rivers got hurt, they had to go get Darrell Henderson and they had to go get Royce Freeman basically off the streets to become their running back duo. And they were weaving those two guys in and out. But Freeman was getting more carries, and all they were doing was having Freeman run straight up the middle, which was really what Kyron Williams was doing too. When you got that Rams offensive line, they were blowing holes wide open. You just needed a guy that still had enough speed that could take a handoff and just sprint and never have anybody or not normally have somebody in his way, or there's no blocking, there's no hole. There was holes all over the place, and he would just hit it and go. And he's a big guy, so he's hard to tackle. When they tackled him, he'd get an extra yard or two because he was such a big guy to bring down. But there was nothing impressive about it. Literally him running straight up the middle until somebody got in his way. With the Rams, you can get away with that. With Dallas, they're probably not as run blocking good as the Rams. So I don't think Royce Freeman is any big super threat to Ezekiel Elliott being the lead running back. So if you told me this season it's going to be Zeke and Freeman are the top two running backs for Dallas, I would tell you that Freeman would, or that Elliott would be probably 75, 80%, and Freeman would be 20, 25% of the touches. It wouldn't be a 50-50 split. It would be heavy Zeke, and then Zeke would be an RB2 type level running back. But then I also went and looked at Rico Dowdle. I'm like, well, there was people starting to talk about maybe Rico Dowdle was going to get cut. And I thought Mike McCarthy loved this guy. But Stephen Jones is saying he's in the battle for the number 3 spot. So I went back and watched all of Dowdle's touches from last year. And me personally, I think Dowdle is better than Royce Freeman. I would want to possess Dowdle as the guy that may hone in on Elliott more. But watching both of them, Freeman and Dowdle, I think this is an Ezekiel Elliott moment. Unless he gets hurt and gives it over, I don't think either of those guys are a big threat. Dowdle's got more wiggle. Dowdle's is better in the passing game. So I think it'll be Dowdle, but Stephen Jones says it's going to be Royce Freeman. And so maybe it's going to be. So I imagine it'll be all three of those guys, but it'll be Elliott at the top and the other two guys taking random touches.
It doesn't sound like you think Freeman's a serious handcuff to Zeke. If anything,
that's the debate. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think he is, but Stephen Jones thinks he is, and Stephen Jones is only reflecting what he's seeing on the field and what they're talking about in meetings. So technically, maybe he is the handcuff, but I don't think it's going to be a very glamorous handcuff. So for the cost, what you can get him off of, for nothing. Last week when we put out the alert, everybody was picking him up in various leagues because he was just sitting out there for nothing. So he's worth a look for nothing, but I don't think in the end I'm getting him. And what I've done today and what I'll do the rest of this week is try to trade him to the Zeke owner as the news gets out about Royce Freeman.